Welcome back, everybody. This is our third and final video from Dan Larsson on producing house music in Ableton Live. In case you missed it, check out video 1 and video 2 here. Also, make sure you click the link and come back to warpacademy.com so you can grab the free project file. It's loaded with excellent synth patches and effects presets that you guys can use in your own library and in your own music. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay in touch, stay fresh on all of our updates. Also, make sure you check out Dan's channel over at Let's Synthesize. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
Hey, Dan Larsson here, and welcome to the third part of this Housey Groovy tutorial series. And in this video I would like to show you how I made this synth tab. So this is a Serum preset, but before we jump into it, let me show you that I use this very awesome chord plugin in Live, which you can find here in MIDI Effects, and there is this chord. And what it does, it takes your root key, what a root key is, what you basically push on your keyboard. So I'm pushing now, let me show you, F sharp, because my song is in F sharp, and it adds additional notes based on these knobs. So the second note after my root note is 3 semitones higher, the second note is 7 semitones higher, the fourth note or the third added note is 9 semitones higher, and there is one octave lower. So this is how the chord builds up. Without this, the whole sounds like this. It is very weak, so I prefer using a chord instead of one note. And we have this Scale plugin, which still, I mean, it is again in the MIDI Effects group. We have this Scale plugin here, and what it does, it determines a scale, and in this case I wanted to use a minor scale, and basically pushes everything into the scale. So as you can see, there is an input field here, and determines how the input note can fit into a minor scale, and if it doesn't, it pushes down or up to fit in the minor scale, and you can still set the bass to F sharp or even C. It really depends on your song. So everything will stay in the F sharp minor scale, which is very, very awesome. You can go up on your keyboard. And you will always stay in the minor scale. In this case, F sharp minor scale, which is very, very handy. So this is what I used here, and let's jump into Serum. In Serum I have this beautiful waveform, and what it is, it's an unrecorded, it's my custom waveform, what I recorded, and I used a water bottle what I blowed with my nose, you know, and I recorded it and imported it into Serum, and I just started playing with it, you know. I use this envelope 2 to modulate several parameters in Serum. For example, the first was the wavetable position and the filter, because if I don't use a filter, it may be cool, but I didn't like it in this mix. Let me show you. It's just not good, it's too metallic, and I wanted to use a more organic sound. So I had to filter out everything after the main attack, after the first hit. So I used some pluckiness using this envelope 2 modulation source on filtered one, or what it is called, well, the main filter is cut off. So this is the sound, what it gives with the filter. I set the filter to MG low 24. It is a very heavy filtering type. And I also added some noise, because without it the sound is a little more, you know, metallic, not organic. And as I told you several times before in the previous videos, I like to keep my sounds in an organic field, and the noise can give very, very good result. Let me show you without the noise and with the noise. How cool is that? but I didn't want to add too much noise, so this is why I just set the modulation at around 16. Too much noise is not very good, so this is what we have on the main page, and let me show you the effects. We have this hyper and dimension plugin here, or effect activated, but I didn't use the hyper here, only the dimension expander on a very short size setting. You know, to make the sound more wide. And added some chorus to make the sound more, well, a little fatter. I pushed out the low pass filter because I didn't want to filter the chorus, edit chorus notes. And all the other settings are the basic settings here when you open the chorus effect. There are some annoying frequencies at around 200 Hz. As you can hear, so I had to cut it out. I set the cut frequency at around 210 Hz and set this to peak or EQ type. What is it? Low EQ type. Well, it's a peak filtering or peak EQing, and I did some reverb. And this is all the preset itself. I also added some more boost on the middles. And some gain, as you can see, it is 6 decibels. So this is all on the synth tab, and as I told you before, I would like to add you some tips on the mastering and on the mixing. Well, the first thing is I recommend you to always group your instruments and try to process them first. And in this case, I had to group my synth instruments, and I call these synths. With drums, I don't have too much to do because all these drums in one drum rack. So I use some limiter, and this is all basically. It does the job. On the synth, I still want to use some limiter. And if I want, and if you want, just compress it. To be honest, in this case, I don't really want to compress my synth group, so I unclick the compressor. And on the bass, I still recommend you to use some limiting because you don't want your bass to be distorted. Only if you make, for example, dubstep or drum bass, heavily distorted stuff, that can be helpful if you use a saturator on the top or something. But in this case, these are very soft and filtered basses. I don't want any clipping or any saturated. Okay, so let's jump onto the master channel. I have this small, a small rack here, a group of effects. This is the unprocessed master channel. And as you can see, it clips a little, not too much. But we still need to process it. So on the first tab, I would like to add a compressor to, compress everything together, because right now all the sounds are, well, they contain too much dynamic information. So I want to get rid of them. The drums jump up too high, the synths and basses are too low. So with the regular compressor plugin, what you can find here, this is the old compressor plugin, I just compressed everything. So set the threshold to the point where you want your compressor jump in and work. And on the attack, I wanted to let just a little transient through the compressor. not too much. And I didn't want to push it back because if I did, I would lose basically all my transients. Yeah, that is the sound, that is the word what I was searching for. But if I push it too much, we get to that point where we were before. What I didn't want is, you know, the drums jump out too much from the mix. So at around, I don't know, 0.16 milliseconds, 0.16 milliseconds, it really works well because we still have some transients, but all the information, dynamic information, is still crushed a little and compressed a little. And the release information is very important here because if I push it, I mean I pull it back to 1 millisecond, the whole sound will, well, I don't know how to express it. It's like similar to, well, it starts to distort. So you need to give your compressor a little time to get back to the original level, amplitude level. And in this case, 50 milliseconds is good enough. If you push it too high, you get back again to that point where we were before, and we don't want that. We want our sound to be compressed. And at the end, when you are satisfied with the result, you can set the full amount of compression with the ratio. At around 2.8 is, well, for me it is good enough. So after compressing, we lose some energy on the low end. So let's get it back. Let's put it back with some EQing. And we have this glue compressor, which is very good because it glues really together the whole sound. And we have the soft clipping knob here, which what it does is well, basically cuts out all the peaks. And it is good because if you don't use some very slight amount of saturation or either this soft knob, you will kill your transients, because as you can see in compressor 1, we left some attack, we left some transient in the mix, and the glue compressor still adds a very small amount of them, which we need to take care. So if you add the limiter only, you will lose all these attacks and all these transients. Let me show you. I don't know if you can hear it. I think we still compress too much, but I don't know, for this demonstration purpose it is cool. So if you leave only a limiter at the end, you will lose all those beautiful transients, especially on the snare. Let's listen to the snare. How nicely it punches and it crunches, really. I don't know, I really like its sound, but with the limiter we completely lose it. So with a glue compressor, soft clipping or soft wave shaping, soft saturating setting knob, you can take care of your transient. It will still clip, the full output will still clip a little, but it is a very slight amount, which you can take care of the limiter. So we still have the transient, we still compress the sound, but we don't have any clipping. We don't have any distortion on the main output, which is very important. So if you want, you can add more volume, more gain to the final mix. But be very careful with it because you don't want to over compress your sound. I think 2 more decibels is more than enough here. So I think it sounds well, it's compressed, it shines. I think the whole output is very nice. So, well, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and well, see you next time, guys. Bye bye.